what's good? It's that time of the year again for a sketchbook tour. The last sketchbook tour I did was actually in February, and within that time I've done 2 sketchbooks. I fit out 2 of these so far. For the second one, I'm only going to do a quick flip through. There's only a couple drawings that I like in there. The other things is just like random studies, just practice. And for sketchbook number 3, we're going to go fully in depth and do a flip through. No more wasting time. Let's get to it. First one I'm going to do is my second one, number 2. And I only marked a few pages in this sketchbook because a lot of it is just random doodles, some figure studies here, just random doodles. So I marked out some of the pages that I actually like the most. So the first one was this portrait. I definitely love how this portrait came out. I did this with like a 4H pencil, and it's super light, but I definitely like the shapes that I used on this. And yeah, I still like this portrait to this day. It's one of my favorites. Let's go to the next part. This was a doodle that I did. I like the composition I did here, and this iguana head is so cool to me. Definitely like this page as well. This one's some random portraits that I did, and this was, I believe, a color pencil and ink on top. Another one of my all-time favorite portrait sketches. I just love the energy this guy has. It's super, what should I say? The mood is definitely something super dark. It's funny, a lot of these were good portraits that I like. I just realized that, but yeah, another portrait. I've been super heavy into portraits in this sketchbook for sure. But yeah, not much to say. It's a lot of just random doodles in this one. But here and there, we get some good portraits like this one. I also like this portrait as well. There's some figures on the side of here, just messing around. Time for my favorite portraits. I know I said a lot of favorite portraits here, but this one for sure. I love this portrait sketch that I did here. This was with like a red mechanical pencil. It had like a red lead to it that I sharpened to like a chisel, and I was using like the flat end to add the tone on. So it got that look to it. Don't look at this one. I actually do not like this one a lot. I messed up the value on that, but this one here is great. This one here is especially great. I love this one. But yeah. And then finally, the last one in this sketchbook, gotta show the self-portrait. Yes. Oh no, it was another one tagged. But yeah, I gotta show the self-portrait. Yes. I'm not sure which other one I had tagged in. Oh yeah, it was this page. And it's this page. This was like some cool little doodles I did from imagination with watercolor, and then I added a bit of ink on top in certain areas. But yeah, that was it for this sketchbook. Not too much to say about sketchbook number 2. On to the big boys, sketchbook number 3. Oh, we have some tickets to the Chicago Art Institute. This was a very good gallery. A lot of master craft artists in there, man. And I have some business cards from another artist. So this one will start 5/5/23, and I actually forgot to add the date, so I'll add that afterwards. Ended around September-ish. I want to say September 10th or something, but yeah. It starts off kind of slow, just some ink studies, some random things going on, some secretary birds. I definitely like drawing secretary birds, even though I can't get the little feathers in the back of the head right at times. Some more figures. Definitely like how this bird came out. I like this eye. I had a bit of white, but the gel pen that I had didn't really show up too well, but it happens. I also like this sketch as well. I don't know, I was really thinking about just the universe and spirit at the time of this, but it was just some random idea that I came to my head, and yeah. I like this skull that I did, but these are more just random. These were observational studies. The good old gouache portraits that I tried to do. These were actually using the same reference, and then on the next page, it's actually the reference here. So this is how it actually supposed to look, because you can see the skull here and the skull there, but you can tell that I kind of gave up during the painting process. So I definitely want to spend more time with painting and just getting better at that craft, because it's similar to drawing, but at the same time there's some nuances with it. These are some clouds that I referenced from Katsuya Terada, the Japanese artist. I definitely like how he draws the clouds with the swirls and stuff. I kind of like that style. But another portrait. This guy is actually a lot younger. This is about, I want to say the boy was about 10 or 11. He actually looks a lot older in this sketch that I did. So this is actually that same reference from before. Another instance of it turning out. This is the third attempt. We're going to get that attempt correct eventually, I promise. Have some more portraits here. I wanted to leave this page blank because I kind of like having that blank on this portrait. So playing around with shape and form. I do that a lot. Boxes and perspective. I have a bus study. I did this on a plane, and then this was some thumbnail stuff of the trip I took to Arizona. This was in Sedona, and this was also in Sedona. This was Buddha Beach. I was sitting there and just drawing the rocks being stacked on top of each other. But I definitely like how this bus came out. I did like how this sketch came out. There's this girl basically sliced this guy in half, and then she's walking off with one arm behind her back. Easy work. Portrait that kind of failed. Same reference. I still think that kind of failed as well. I like this doodle that I did. More doodles and a dog. The eyes are kind of wonky there, but hey. Some thumbnails. I think these were markers, yeah, because they bled over to the side. That's why it's not much colored things in this sketchbook, because they tend to bleed over a lot on the other side of the page. But on the back, I just doodled on top of it. Doodled. That's a funny word to say. And then this was the kiosk area at my job. This is where people pick up food. More ink portraits and some figure studies. More figures from imagination. I like this sketch. This is actually one of my favorites as well. More figures. And this one, where my One Piece fans at, this was Big Mom versus Law and Kid, if you guys know the scene. Another ink portrait. I like how this came out. This was from Imagination, and it's a pretty standard portrait, just straight on, no really perspective in it, but I did like how it came out. Blank page for some reason. And we have some secretary birds again. Another favorite spread of mine here. Some skulls and another random figure doodle. I like this bust that I did here as well. More doodles. I doodle a lot. Oh, I like this page. This was a observational study at the art museum, and then this was from Imagination. I just kind of splat. I just kind of put some watercolor on the paper and just came up with what I saw, and I just saw that face there. So some eyeballs and some noses. You really can't see that color pencil, but it's definitely some stuff here in this area. These are some skulls from this Bridgman book that I've been looking at. Some octopi. I almost said octopuses, but I actually used, I started off with the silhouette first and then just drew on top of it with ink to see. I did the sketch first in color pencil, and then off of that, I just kind of made up a silhouette and see what I could come up with. More doodles. I actually like this one here. Definitely like this doodle. It's a lot of movement in it, and then this eye is good as well. But this was straight out of Michael Hampton's book. More Bridgman studies, some lips from Bridgman, and then neck area for Bridgman. And then this was an imaginary doodle. I do like that after the Bridgman study, I started adding more features of the neck just to try to reinforce the information I was getting out of the Bridgman book. But yeah, and then there's me. My severed head sitting there. You find me a lot. Oh, look who it is. It's me again. This time I especially was thinking about the cosmos and just riding the cloud of the universe. Yeah. Some portraits. This is some abstract doodle that I did. It's not really showing up too well. Some more doodles. This is my boy Wu Shang. If you guys play Brawlhalla, that's who I was playing a lot of at the time of drawing this. It's my boy. More figures. I like this spread a lot. I definitely like how this spread came out. I like this iguana for sure. And then I like the abstraction. I forgot what animal this was, but I like the abstraction that I did here. It's me again. I actually got attacked by a wasp at work, and then I was so annoyed afterwards I had to draw what happened. This what happened in my head. I actually like kind of screamed a bit, but hey. Another figure study. Not really, these are just figures from imagination, but I do like to add like scenes in my head. I think this guy's gonna win, but he has the sword ready to try to strike back. These are some Pinterest creatures that I saw. Just doodling for inspiration. Not doodling, but sketching for inspiration. Just doing some copies. More creatures, and then like some of the occult symbols. I love occult art a lot just because of the ink work and the draftsmanship. It's a lot of good imagery that comes out of that. So I like this one as well. I added like some red ink on top. An illustration I did off the idea. You can definitely see some of the occult works popping up into the art. And then this was at the Chicago Industry and Technology Museum. I love this spread. I especially like this Model T. If you can see, there's like small dots. The way I was doing these from drawings, I'd start off with dots and try to get like some silhouette going and filling in afterwards. But I clearly moved some stuff around, but I like how this came out. Some botanical garden studies, and then this were some fireworks studies. I was just observing how the firework projectiles kind of all disperse from one particular point in the center, and then they all just like whoosh, whoosh, in different directions. Venom killing fodder. This is some weird character design that I did. He has some powers. Didn't have much of a story. I just had some dude. He has some powers that uses his heart, and that's where the idea came from. Some ink portrait studies. I only really like these two. The other ones were all right, but these probably my favorites out of this session that I did. And then this was like a lighthouse and a weird symbol that I came up with. Playing around with some geometrical shapes again. And then these were some thumbnails that I did in ink just to test tone. I actually like this one, and I'm re-looking at it. This actually looks kind of cool. Some weapons, some more figure things. This is out of Michael Hampton book, most likely. I can tell from this spine. Some imaginative figures. I like to have my figures try to interact with each other. I do that a lot. Same here. The grab. Tried to draw some cars. Figured that I was like, damn, I'm kind of bad at drawing cars, so had to stack some boxes on each other and play around with boxes and converge them together. These are some figures. You really can't see them because the light's hitting it weird, but some figure studies. This page is blank for some reason. More playing with the box form. And then this was a reference from Pinterest. I liked how that creature looked, so I wanted to draw it in graphite. One of my favorite drawings that I did in the sketchbook. This was probably one of my favorite drawings out of this entire sketchbook. Just the entire experience drawing this, it was so much fun to do. It was a master study. I forgot the artist's name, but it was a master study on Pinterest that I saw, and I was like, I want to draw that. And I love how this came out. This was done in graphite. I think with like a 6B or 4H pencil. I didn't go as dark as I want to. I really want to start going a lot darker on these because, man, if I just deepen these shadows a bit, this will look a lot better, but it already looks good enough. But yeah, I love this picture for this drawing. Some hand studies, and then this was a sculpture from the art museum. I did this from life. Not really seeing it much, but it's there. And then this was my first portrait that I did with the ink brush and wash, or ink brush. I actually like how this came out, but I want to keep trying with it. Second attempt went completely like off the rails. I didn't like it at all, so I scratched it out and made this piece of work. And then afterwards, I just started doing like value studies and stuff with the ink and brush, and then tried another portrait with that. I didn't go into too much detail. I really just want to focus on controlling the tone and the value with the ink and brush. And then I haven't done anything with the ink and brush from this portrait on, but I am gonna go back to that because ink and brush is pretty fun. It's pretty fun. And then this was a value study of a pear. The graphite is shining through the light. Another bust from, this is another bust from observation or from life. And then these are some figures that I did. Some more imaginative figures, just trying to invent and play around with it. I did start using arrows more just to orient myself. Super useful to use. You can tell I just had this realization of using the arrows. Wow. Not much to say about this. There's a lot going on here. It's a lot going on here. I do like this area here though, and this weird staff that I drew. More occult work reference. Self-portrait, and then we have some occult work going on. I like the camera angle that I did on this sketch here. Another self-portrait, and then this here, this reminds me of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood with the Philosopher's Stone. I think that's what I had in my mind while I was drawing this. I like how it makes the shape S. This I was reading Berserk. I'm on chapter 88, and then this is another figure. Have some portrait studies and then some more figures. I've been doing a lot of figure studies lately. A lot of figure studies. You can never have enough figure studies. Ooh, I like this page. I like this page a lot. The light's not doing it justice, but it's a lot that's going on this page. I didn't have much in mind. I started off with this figure, and then I was like, I'm thinking of the Grim Reaper. So I just kind of played around with the Grim Reaper with some thumbnails, and then I kind of blew up those thumbnails on the side. So this was starting here, and then this was the thumbnail for this entire thing. Hopefully nudity doesn't get me banned on YouTube, but this was a nude figure, and this is another portrait. More portraits. This is actually the same reference. They're both using the same reference, but I clearly gave up on this one. More figures. I like this one. I've been liking the figures where they're pulling a rope or something. And I find that to loop around in my sketchbook. Just trying to find ways to connect my pages together. Have some heads, some random studies, some doodles. There's me doodling it away. Charcoal drawing. I actually wrote a note, gonna make a mess, but I thought it was gonna smear, but it actually didn't. That's different. It's more imaginative things going on. I like this figure here. I like the angle and the distortion I have on the legs. Low key, I do not like this portrait at all. After doing this portrait, I spent a decent amount of time on it too. And then when I looked up, I was like, yeah, this definitely failed. So I just wrote GG, and then I tried it again. No, I actually tried it again, and then this one failed. I crossed it out, and I was like, you know what? I'm done with this page. GG. Good game. And then finally, we're at the end of the sketchbook. Your good old figure study of this Russian book that I have. And I actually dropped a video on this. It actually doesn't look too much. I got the pose right, but face-wise, not really there. But I actually dropped a video on that. So I dropped a video on that. So if you guys are interested, click on that. But yeah. So yeah, that is sketchbook number 3 in this type of book. I've actually filled out way more than 3 sketchbooks. This isn't my 3rd sketchbook. It's just the 3rd one that I've started labeling. And it's mainly because these are the same art creation sketchbooks that I have. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this sketchbook tour, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in my next video. Deuces.